When disaster strikes and the world as we know it crumbles, survival isn't just about having the right gear or stockpiling food, it's about something far deeper, following the silent, unspoken rules that no one ever talks about. Break these rules and your chances of making it through could vanish in an instant. Welcome to the raw, unforgiving world of survival, where your mindset, discipline, and ability to adapt are the ultimate tools for staying alive. These rules aren't written in survival guides or printed on the back of fancy gear. They're lessons forged through generations of hardship, passed down by those who faced the worst and lived to tell the tale. Survival isn't a game of luck. It's a relentless test of strategy, endurance, and sheer willpower. In this video, we're uncovering the 10 silent rules of survival. No one tells you. These are the rules that separate the prepared from the unprepared, the survivors from the statistics. And trust me, the final rule, the one we'll reveal at the very end, is something even seasoned preppers often overlook. Ignore it, and it could cost you everything. So are you ready to learn the rules that could save your life? Let's dive in. Rule 1. Never be the loudest person. In survival, silence isn't just golden, it's essential. Noise and visibility are like beacons in the dark, and in a survival scenario, they can spell danger. The louder you are, the more attention you draw, and attention is the last thing you want when resources are scarce and threats are everywhere. Think about it, predators, whether human or animal, are always on the lookout for easy targets. A loud voice, the clatter of supplies, or even the glow of a flashlight can give away your position. It's not just about sound, it's about presence. The more noticeable you are, the more likely you are to become a target, whether it's for theft, confrontation, or worse. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, isn't survival about being seen and heard when you need help? In some cases, yes, like signaling for rescue in a controlled environment. But in most survival scenarios, especially in chaotic or hostile conditions, being the loudest person can make you a magnet for trouble. So how do you stay under the radar? Start by controlling your environment. Keep your voice low, avoid unnecessary noise, and secure your gear to prevent clinking or rattling. Even your movements should be deliberate and quiet. If you're traveling, stick to paths that minimize the sound of footsteps, and avoid areas where echoes can amplify your presence. Remember, survival isn't about making a statement, it's about staying alive. Silence is your shield, and subtlety is your weapon. The quieter you are, the safer you'll be. In the world of survival, the loudest person is often the first to fall. Rule 2. Trust is earned slowly. In a survival situation, trust is a double-edged sword. On one hand, humans are social creatures, and working together can increase your chances of survival. On the other hand, trusting too quickly or too openly can put you in serious danger. The harsh truth is that desperation can bring out the worst in people, and not everyone has your best interests at heart. It's natural to want to connect with others, especially when you're facing uncertainty. Sharing resources, information, or even just companionship can be comforting. But in survival, revealing too much too soon, whether it's your supplies, your location, or your plans, can make you vulnerable. A seemingly friendly face could be scouting for weaknesses, or worse, planning to take what you have. So how do you navigate this delicate balance? Start by observing. Actions speak louder than words, and in a survival scenario, they reveal a person's true character. Are they willing to contribute, or are they just looking to take? Do they respect boundaries, or do they push for more than you're comfortable sharing? Trust isn't something you give away freely. It's something that must be earned over time. When it comes to sharing resources, less is more. Don't reveal the full extent of your supplies or capabilities. Instead, share sparingly and strategically. For example, if you're in a group, contribute just enough to show goodwill without exposing your entire stockpile. And always have a backup plan in case things go south. Building trust is a slow process, but it's worth the effort. A trustworthy ally can be a lifesaver, but misplaced trust can be a fatal mistake. In survival, trust is a currency, and like any currency, it should be spent wisely. Rule 3. Move like a shadow. Survival isn't about standing out, it's about blending in. This is where the gray man principle comes into play. The idea is simple. Become so unremarkable that you're practically invisible. In a world where attention can be dangerous, the ability to move unnoticed is a powerful skill. Being the gray man means adapting to your environment. In an urban setting, it might mean dressing in neutral colors, avoiding eye contact, and walking with purpose without drawing attention. In the wilderness, it could mean camouflaging yourself with natural materials, staying low to the ground, and avoiding open spaces. The goal is to make yourself forgettable, to the point where no one gives you a second glance. But being the gray man isn't just about appearance, it's also about behavior. Avoid flashy gear, loud conversations, or anything that makes you stand out. Even your body language matters. Confident but unassuming movements can help you blend in, while erratic or overly cautious behavior can make you a target. This principle isn't about being timid or fearful, it's about being smart and strategic. The less attention you draw, the safer you'll be. Think of it like this: predators, whether human or animal, are always looking for the easiest prey. By blending in, you make yourself less of a target. Moving like a shadow also means being aware of your surroundings. Pay attention to the people and environment around you. Are there potential threats nearby? Is there a safer route you can take? The more you observe, the better you can adapt. In survival, invisibility is a superpower. By mastering the art of blending in, you increase your chances of staying safe and unnoticed. Remember, the goal isn't to hide in fear, it's to move with purpose and precision, like a shadow in the night. Rule 4. Don't waste calories. In survival, your body is your most valuable resource, and every calorie you burn is a resource you'll need to replace. This isn't just about conserving energy, it's about survival math. Your energy is finite, and in a world where food is scarce, every action you take must serve a purpose. Think of your body like a bank account. Every step, every movement, every decision is a withdrawal. Without a steady deposit of calories, that account will run dry, leaving you weak, sluggish, and vulnerable. In a survival situation, this can be the difference between life and death. So, how do you avoid wasting calories? Start by being deliberate in everything you do. If you're traveling, choose the most efficient route, even if it takes a little longer. Avoid running unless it's absolutely necessary. Walking conserves far more energy. When it comes to tasks like gathering firewood or building shelter, plan ahead to minimize unnecessary trips or movements. Another key aspect is prioritizing your efforts. Don't waste energy on tasks that don't directly contribute to your survival. For example, building an elaborate shelter might seem like a good idea, but if it leaves you too exhausted to gather food or water, it's counterproductive. Focus on what's essential: staying warm, hydrated, and nourished. Finally, remember that rest is just as important as action. Your body needs time to recover and repair, especially in high-stress situations. Don't push yourself to the point of exhaustion. It's a fast track to making mistakes, which can be deadly in survival scenarios. Efficiency is the name of the game. Every calorie you save is a calorie you can use later when it really counts. Survival isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right things and doing them with purpose. Rule 5. Secure water first. When it comes to survival, water is king. You can go weeks without food, but only a few days without water. It's the lifeblood of your body, fueling every function from brain activity to muscle movement. Without it, dehydration sets in quickly, leaving you weak, disoriented, and unable to make sound decisions. That's why securing a reliable water source should always be your top priority. This rule isn't just about stockpiling water, though having a supply on hand is never a bad idea. It's about knowing how to find, collect, and purify water in any situation. Streams, rivers, rainwater, even dew on plants can be lifesavers if you know how to use them. But remember, not all water is safe to drink. Contaminated water can lead to illness, which is the last thing you want when you're already in a vulnerable state. So, how do you secure water? Start by learning the basics of water purification. Whether it's boiling, using purification tablets, or creating a makeshift filter, having the knowledge and tools to make water safe is crucial. Always carry a portable water filter or purification tablets in your survival kit. They're lightweight and can mean the difference between life and death. Next, think about collection. Rainwater is one of the easiest and safest sources, so having a tarp or container to catch it can be invaluable. In the absence of rain, look for natural sources like streams or rivers, but always approach with caution. If the water is stagnant or has a strange odor, it's likely unsafe. Finally, plan ahead. If you're in a survival situation, make securing water your first task. Food, shelter, and other needs can wait. Your body can't, and remember, No matter how much food you've stored, it's useless without water. Dehydration will rob you of the strength to even open a can, let alone survive. Water is life. Secure it first, and everything else will follow. Rule 6. Fire only when safe. Fire is one of the most powerful tools in survival, but it's also one of the riskiest. It provides warmth, light, and a way to cook food and purify water. But it also acts as a beacon, announcing your presence to anyone or anything within miles. In a survival scenario, especially one where danger could come from other people, fire can be as much a liability as it is an asset. The light from a fire can be seen from great distances, especially at night. Even a small flame can stand out like a spotlight in the dark. And then there's the smoke. During the day, it can rise high into the sky, visible for miles. At night, the smell of smoke can travel even farther, potentially drawing unwanted attention. So, how do you use fire safely? The first step is location. If you're going to build a fire, make sure you're in a well-hidden spot. Dense forests, valleys, or areas with natural cover can help conceal the light and smoke. Avoid open spaces or hilltops where your fire will be visible from a distance. Next, consider the size of your fire. A roaring bonfire might be great for a camping trip, but in a survival situation, it's overkill. Keep your fire small and controlled, just enough to meet your needs without drawing attention. Use dry wood to minimize smoke, and if possible, build your fire in a pit or surrounded by rocks to contain the light. Timing is also crucial. If you're in a high-risk area, it might be better to wait until you're in a safer location before lighting a fire, and always be prepared to extinguish it quickly if needed. Keep water or dirt nearby to smother the flames at a moment's notice. Fire is a double-edged sword. Used wisely, it can be a lifesaver. Used carelessly, it can be a death sentence. Always weigh the risks and benefits before striking that match. In survival, safety comes first. Rule 7. Silence your camp. In the eerie quiet of a post-disaster world, sound becomes a double-edged sword. Even the smallest noise, a clanging pot, a raised voice, or the click of a flashlight, can travel farther than you'd expect, potentially drawing unwanted attention. In survival, silence isn't just golden. It's a shield that protects you from danger. Think about it. In a world where resources are scarce and desperation runs high, any sound can act as a beacon, signaling your location to those who might want what you have. Whether it's a group of scavengers, a wild animal, or even just a curious passerby, noise can turn your safe haven into a target. So, how do you silence your camp? Start by being mindful of your actions. Keep conversations to a whisper and avoid shouting unless it's absolutely necessary. When handling equipment, do so carefully to minimize clattering or banging. Even something as simple as securing your gear to prevent it from rattling while you move can make a big difference. Light is another factor to consider. A flashlight beam might seem harmless, but in the dark it can be seen from a great distance. Use red filters or dim settings to reduce visibility, and always shield your light source to avoid giving away your position. Finally, think about your surroundings. Set up camp in a location that naturally muffles sound, like a dense forest or a low-lying area. Avoid open spaces where noise can echo and carry farther. And if you're in a group, establish clear signals for communication that don't rely on sound, like hand gestures or prearranged visual cues. Silencing your camp isn't about living in fear, it's about being smart and strategic. The quieter you are, the less likely you are to attract danger. In survival, discretion is the better part of valor, and silence is your greatest ally. Rule 8. Always have 2 exits. Survival is all about options, and when it comes to safety, having multiple exits is non-negotiable. Whether you're bugging in or bugging out, the ability to escape quickly and efficiently can mean the difference between life and death. This rule isn't just about physical exits. It's about having a mindset that prioritizes flexibility and preparedness. Let's start with bugging in. You've chosen your location, fortified it, and made it as secure as possible. But what happens if the unexpected occurs? A fire, a flood, or even a hostile group discovering your location can turn your safe haven into a trap. That's why it's crucial to have at least 2 ways out. Whether it's a back door, a window, or even a hidden escape route, having an alternative exit ensures you're never cornered. Now, let's talk about bugging out. When you're on the move, the same principle applies. Never take a route that leaves you with only one way forward. Always plan your path with multiple alternatives. So if one route is blocked or becomes unsafe, you have another option. This might mean studying maps, scouting the area, or even creating your own trails to ensure you're never trapped. But exits aren't just physical, they're also strategic. Having a backup plan, a plan B, or even a plan C is just as important as having a physical way out. For example, if your primary shelter becomes compromised, do you have a secondary location in mind? If your main supply route is cut off, do you have an alternative way to gather resources? Thinking ahead and preparing for the unexpected is the essence of survival. Remember, survival is a game of adaptability. The more options you have, the better your chances of making it through. Always have two exits, because in survival, being trapped is not an option. Rule 9. Watch people more than the disaster. In a survival scenario, the disaster itself is often just the beginning. The real danger comes in the aftermath, when people are left to fend for themselves. Desperation, fear, and scarcity can bring out the worst in human nature, turning ordinary individuals into unpredictable threats. That's why this rule is so critical. Watch people more than the disaster. When resources are scarce and law and order break down, people can become your greatest threat. History is full of examples. Looting, violence, and betrayal often follow in the wake of a catastrophe. It's not the storm, the earthquake, or the blackout that poses the greatest risk. It's the human reaction to it. So, how do you navigate this human landscape? Start by staying vigilant. Pay close attention to the people around you, whether they're strangers or members of your group. Look for signs of aggression, desperation, or deceit. Is someone acting overly friendly or pushy? Are they asking too many questions about your supplies or plans? These could be red flags. Trust is another key factor. In a survival situation, trust has to be earned, not freely given. Be cautious about who you share information with, especially when it comes to your resources or location. A seemingly harmless conversation can quickly turn into a dangerous situation if the wrong person knows too much. Finally, remember that not all threats are obvious. Sometimes the most dangerous individuals are the ones who blend in, who seem harmless until it's too late. That's why it's important to trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. In the end, survival isn't just about outlasting the disaster. It's about navigating the human challenges that come with it. By staying alert and cautious, you can protect yourself from the greatest threat of all other people. Rule 10. The rule of patience. Patience is the linchpin of survival. It's not about who has the most gear, the biggest stockpile, or the strongest physique. It's about who can endure, who can wait, and who can make calculated decisions under pressure. Survival isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and the rule of patience is what separates the survivors from the rest. In a survival situation, the urge to act quickly can be overwhelming. Panic sets in, and the instinct to do anything can take over. But rushing often leads to mistakes, and mistakes can be deadly. Whether it's revealing your position too soon, wasting resources, or making a hasty decision, impatience can cost you everything. So, how do you cultivate patience? Start by focusing on the long game. Survival is about endurance, not quick fixes. Take the time to assess your situation, weigh your options, and make deliberate choices. For example, if you're low on food, don't rush out to hunt or forage without a plan. Instead, think about how you can stretch your existing supplies while minimizing risk. Patience also means resisting the urge to reveal yourself. In a chaotic world, staying hidden can be your greatest advantage. Don't light a fire, make noise, or draw attention to yourself unless it's absolutely necessary. The longer you can remain unnoticed, the better your chances of survival. Finally, remember that patience is a mental game. It's about staying calm, focused, and disciplined, even when the odds seem stacked against you. Take deep breaths, stay grounded, and remind yourself that every moment of patience brings you closer to safety. In the end, survival isn't about being the fastest or the strongest. It's about being the smartest. And the smartest survivors know that patience is their most powerful tool. Bonus point 1. Adaptability is survival. In the world of survival, rigidity is a death sentence. The ability to adapt to change your plans, your mindset, and even your environment is one of the most critical skills you can develop. Survival isn't about sticking to a single plan or strategy. It's about being flexible enough to pivot when circumstances demand it. Imagine this. You've spent weeks preparing a bug-out location. It's stocked with food, water, and supplies, and you've fortified it to withstand potential threats. But then, disaster strikes. Maybe a wildfire sweeps through the area, or a group of hostile individuals discovers your location. Suddenly, your carefully laid plans are useless. What do? If you're adaptable, you'll already have a backup plan, or the ability to create one on the fly. Adaptability starts with your mindset. You need to accept that no plan is foolproof and that change is inevitable. This means being willing to abandon your original strategy if it's no longer viable. It also means staying calm under pressure. Panic is the enemy of adaptability. It clouds your judgment and makes it harder to think clearly. When faced with a sudden change, take a moment to breathe, assess the situation, and consider your options. Another key aspect of adaptability is resourcefulness. In a survival scenario, you'll often need to make do with what you have. This might mean using a tarp as a makeshift shelter, repurposing a tin can as a cooking pot, or finding alternative ways to secure food and water. The more creative and resourceful you are, the better equipped you'll be to handle unexpected challenges. Finally, adaptability means being open to learning. Every survival situation is a learning experience, and the more you know, the better prepared you'll be for the next challenge. Take the time to learn new skills, whether it's fire starting, navigation, or first aid. The more tools you have in your mental toolbox, the more adaptable you'll be. In survival, the only constant is change. By embracing adaptability, you'll be better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Bonus point 2. Mental resilience is your greatest weapon. When we think about survival, we often focus on physical skills, building a fire, finding water, or constructing a shelter. But the truth is, survival is just as much a mental game as it is a physical one. In fact, your mental resilience, your ability to stay calm, focused, and determined in the face of adversity, can often be the deciding factor between life and death. Mental resilience starts with your mindset. In a survival situation, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. The challenges can seem insurmountable, and the odds may feel stacked against you. But giving in to despair is the quickest way to lose. Instead, you need to cultivate a mindset of determination and hope. Remind yourself that every challenge is temporary and that you have the strength to overcome it. One way to build mental resilience is through preparation. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This doesn't just mean stockpiling supplies, it means practicing your skills, learning about survival strategies, and mentally rehearsing different scenarios. The more you've prepared, the less likely you are to panic when faced with a real-life challenge. Another key aspect of mental resilience is staying focused on your goal. In a survival situation, it's easy to get distracted by fear or frustration, but losing focus can lead to mistakes, and mistakes can be deadly. Instead, keep your mind on what's important. Staying safe, securing resources, and finding a way out of your situation. Break your goals into smaller, manageable steps, and tackle them one at a time. Finally, don't underestimate the power of positivity. It might sound cliché, but maintaining a positive attitude can make a huge difference in your ability to survive. Positivity doesn't mean ignoring the challenges you're facing. It means choosing to focus on what you can do, rather than what you can't. It means finding small victories to celebrate, even in the darkest moments. Survival isn't just about physical strength, it's about mental toughness. By building your mental resilience, you'll be better equipped to face whatever challenges come your way. Bonus point 3. Community can be a lifeline. In the world of survival, there's a common image of the lone wolf, the rugged individual who survives against all odds, relying on nothing but their own skills and determination. While this makes for a great story, the reality is that survival is often a team effort. Building and maintaining a community can be one of the most powerful tools in your survival arsenal. Why is community so important? For one, it allows you to pool resources. In a group, you can share food, water, and supplies, ensuring that everyone has what they need to survive. You can also divide tasks, making it easier to accomplish everything that needs to be done. For example, while one person gathers firewood, another can purify water, and a third can keep watch for potential threats. Community also provides a sense of security. In a survival situation, there's safety in numbers. A group is better equipped to defend against threats, whether they come from wild animals or hostile individuals. And in the event of an emergency, having others around can mean the difference between life and death. For example, if you're injured, a group can provide medical assistance or help you move to a safer location. But perhaps the most important benefit of community is emotional support. Survival can be an incredibly isolating and stressful experience, and having others to lean on can make a huge difference. A kind word, a shared laugh, or even just the presence of another person can provide the motivation you need to keep going. Of course, building a community isn't without its challenges. Trust is a major factor. After all, not everyone has your best interests at heart. That's why it's important to choose your community members carefully. Look for people who are reliable, resourceful, and willing to contribute. And remember, trust is earned over time, not given freely. Communication is another key aspect of maintaining a community. In a survival situation, misunderstandings can quickly escalate into conflicts, which can be dangerous for everyone involved. Establish clear rules and expectations, and make sure everyone is on the same page. Regular check-ins can help address any issues before they become major problems. Finally, remember that community is a two-way street. If you want others to support you, you need to be willing to support them in return. Contribute to the group, share your skills and resources, and be a reliable and trustworthy member. The stronger your community, the better your chances of survival. In survival, no one is an island. By building and maintaining a community, you can increase your chances of making it through even the toughest challenges.